Time for another morsel of Pong, the classic arcade game. We have a new file. This is all the same stuff. I moved my constants into this config file, which it is actually black. Well, that's not really black either. But I'm going to change that to BG color. And a cool thing about Visual Studio Code, if I use my F2 key and I change it in this file, it changes it everywhere, which that's pretty cool. Here's my width and height, the classic original Pong game size. I'm going to make my ball 15 pixels wide. These are pixels, these are pixels. Once I make my ball, ping pong ball. How does an object-oriented program work? Well, first we have a class, which is like a cookie cutter. We need to actually create a program object. So we use the class with our cookie cutter to make a cookie. The cookie automatically gets put in the oven, and this happens. This is the constructor or initialize method. This happens when the object is created. We initialize PyGame. Of course, we need that. We create our surface. Well, what's the self business that snuck in there? Self means that anything that has self in it can be accessed anywhere in this class, because self means that whatever has self in it belongs to the class. Just like config belongs to our config file, self.surface we can use anywhere. So we got self.surface there, we got self.surface down here, no passing of parameters. It's easy to break our program up into methods. It's easier to work on methods and chunks of code than it is to work on 500 lines of code all in a row. So we are doing the same thing. We're using display to set our surface, which is our back buffer. We're using PyGame display to set our title. We're setting up a clock. Self.clock means we can use it anywhere in our class. We're optimizing our game by saying we only are going to look for quit and key down. All those other events are going to be ignored. That helps optimize our game. Well, it's not like this is Grand Theft Auto that we really need, to optimize it. And there we're creating the ball rectangle object. Ooh, we're not loading an image. Well, that's because we're drawing something. So we create a rectangle. Config.width divided by 2. So the width is the width of, let's bring this up here. So the width goes from here to here. We're dividing it by 2, and we're using integer math because you can't go half a pixel. Make sense? And we're setting the X and Y coordinate, which is the upper left-hand side. So we need to move this back the radius of the ball. So this had to be shoved over 15, 15, so it's actually right in the center. If you decide you want a bigger ping pong ball, you can go in here and change the size. All right, so now we're setting the width, and we're setting the height. So we have a round ball. Why is it called a rectangle? Well, it actually is a rectangle. The rectangle is around the drawing, which we haven't drawn yet. We use rectangles because they're easier to calculate collisions from. We are going to listen for our events, just like we did before, but notice, this is in our game loop. Oh, we didn't even start our game loop, did we? Well, once Pong is initialized, we use this object .gameLoop to start our game loop. We check events, just like we did before. We're going to fill the background with a background color, whatever color you want. Oh. Copilot's helping me make this look pretty. All right, so PyGame draw. Well, there is our ellipse. How does an ellipse be a circle? Well, An ellipse is a circle if the radius is the same, x and y. So we draw it on our surface, we make it white, and self.ball is right here. That's our rectangle guy. So the collision coordinates are a square, but what we're drawing is an ellipse inside that square. This is drawing everything on the back buffer. Then we update the surface. When we update the surface, we draw over here. Then we flip it over to here. But we don't do anything if this hadn't changed since the first frame. So 60 times a second, the game is checking to see if anything's moved. Well, nothing's moved, so really nothing's going on. Our ball is just sitting there in the middle of the game, and apparently for some reason, when I was doing this in class at one point, I changed this to blue. You can change your background and your ball color to whatever you want. It'll still be a Pong game. The classic version, of course, is black and white. Well, let's go through this OOP thing again. We have a class, right? This is a cookie cutter. We have to create an object, an actual cookie from this. We have to stomp our cookie cutter down and make a cookie. When we make our cookie, we have to construct it, put in all our ingredients and everything. We have to initialize the library, set up our surface, the caption, clock, what events we're going to allow, create our little rectangle object, and then once it's constructed, we have to do something else to tell it to go. Well, we do pong.gameloop. We call this method. This method calls any other method that it needs to run the program. So it calls check events. Well, we don't have to see check events in here. We can deal with check events inside the method. We're modularizing our code, and then we can work on one thing at a time. One of the rules of thumb for programming is the single responsibility principle. A method should only do one thing, and it should do that really, really well. So all this is doing is checking events. Of course, I break that rule as I go. Then we draw on the back buffer, which is that extra space of memory. I don't know why there's an extra line there. Then we draw our ellipse, which our rectangle is X and Y are the same. We draw it as white or whatever color you want to make it. I should call that ball color or something. Then we take that and update the display. Well, if nothing changed, we don't do anything. Well, there's the basics of number 2. It's probably time to get things actually moving, which may or may not be in our next tutorial.